Hi guys, this is Tamara with Sensible Digital Solutions, and I am back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about Google Slides basics. And if you are not quite clear on what Google Slides are, Google Slides is a presentation tool, and it's a free tool through Google, and it's pretty simple to use. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you some of those basics, and hopefully this will be the launch pad for your Google usage in the future. The main thing that you want to know about Google Slides is getting used to that toolbar. Okay? The toolbar, you should know that it changes based on what is selected. Now you can notice that the text toolbar, the image toolbar, the slide toolbar, they're all the same up until about a certain point, and then they kind of start to change a little bit. But that's okay, because you can notice they all have about to right about here, and then you see we get this fill paint, and then the same thing when you get to the line here, then it changes to a pencil. Then we get to the line here, then it changes to a comment. So it just kind of depends on what's selected at the time, what that toolbar looks like, but the concepts are basically the same. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to model some of these features from the toolbar for you. So that plus sign, and I'll show it to you right here, this lovely plus sign. This plus sign is how you create a new slide. So if I click on this, it's going to create a whole new slide for me. Now, if I want to get rid of that, I can right click on that and I can delete and it'll go away. But right next to that plus sign is a little drop down arrow, and it gives you more options. So if I wanted to create a new title slide, or if I wanted to create a new title slide that has 2 columns, I can do that. If I wanted my slide to be blank, I could do that. So the little arrow gives you the layouts, which is pretty cool. The next slide is that undo redo. And that these are the undo and redo right here. So if I wanted to undo that slide I created and bring it back, I could do that. But then maybe I could change my mind and say, no, I really don't want it. I'm going to redo that delete. Undo an action, redo an action. Print and zoom. So you see this little printer right here. If you wanted to print your slide deck, just click on print. And then you get some options. Okay? You could print a few slides. You can choose how many copies you print. You can print. And then the zoom. So if I click this, it's all the default is to increase or zoom in. Okay? But if I click here, maybe I wanted to zoom it in at 200%. That'll help me see it a little easier. Or maybe I need it to be a little smaller. Or maybe I just want it to fit. So that's the print and zoom features. Insert text. So that's this little text box right here. Okay, so if I click on this and I can just click and drag where I want to create a text box. And now here's that magical text menu that I popped up that I was talking about. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Insert image. Right next to the text box is the image option. So if I click on the image, I have options to either upload from a computer, I can search the web, I can insert an image from Google Drive or from Google Photos, I can use a URL link. I could also insert straight from the camera. Okay? So I'll just search from the web just to show you an example of what insert image looks like. So if I want a picture of a boat, and here's a nice boat right here. I'm going to click that, and down here I'm going to click insert, and it's going to insert it right into my slide for me. Looks good. Insert shapes and lines. So right next to the image, you have the insert shape icon. If I click on that, I can choose to insert shapes. I can insert arrows. I can insert call out boxes, or I could even insert equation shapes if I wanted to. But for now, I think I'm just going to insert a heart. So again, I'm going to click and drag to adjust the size that I want. Alrighty, and notice now we have that image icon bar, but I'm going to come back to that later also. Now let's say I wanted to insert a line. Now if I click on that, it's going to default to a regular line. But if I click on the arrow next to that, I have the options for just a line with 2 endpoints. I could do a line with an arrow on the end. You have elbow connectors, curve connectors, all these different types of lines, but I usually have a tendency just to do the regular line. Now, you notice we have line color, line weight, line dash, line start, line end, few different options. You can absolutely change the color of the line. Let's see, change it to blue might show up pretty good. You can change the weight of the line. See how thick that made the line? I can also make it have dotted lines if I want. So shapes and lines. All right, background. Notice my slide color changed because now we're on a different tool menu. So the background shows up when you have just a plain slide. Okay, so this is what I call the slide menu. The background changes the color of the actual slide. So if I click this, you could actually make an image your background. You can come in and choose a color if you want. So not too shabby. If I chose an image, and again, I can do a Google image search, and this time maybe I want my background to be, let's go with a cat. And we got some pretty cute cats here, but I'm going to go with this one and insert. And now my background is a cat. The layout, so let's say you add a particular layout to the slide, just like we talked about earlier when adding a new slide, you can change your mind. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So currently it's on a title only layout, but maybe I want it to be a big number. So you can change your layout right in the middle of your presentation. No big deal. The theme. So the theme, when you click theme, to the right, a menu pops up and you get to choose. So right now I have a simple light theme, but maybe I want to give my presentation just a little bit more flair. Okay. And I think I like this, maybe this plum. Okay. So remember on my layout theme, now it looks like that theme I created. Okay. Now, if I went here, take a look at all my different layouts. They've changed to match the theme. So be mindful of that. Okay. I'm going to click undo because that was just an example. Can close out of that menu. All right, and the transition is basically how the slides move within your presentation. So I could choose to let it dissolve. Okay, let's get an example of what that might look like. That's pretty interesting. Okay, maybe you like the cube. So it's going to come in like a cube, which it actually would definitely be more prevalent if my slides looked different. So let me go to my insert shapes lines, click play, and now you can see the next one. Okay. Alrighty. Let's stop. All right. Fill, color, and border. So you can tell my slide changed, which means we're on to a new menu. This was actually a part of the text menu. Okay. So I have a text box here, and here's my fill color, my border weight, and my border dash. Let's say I typed in cat presentation. Okay, so if I can change the fill color of this box if I wanted to, and maybe I want it to be white. So now my whole box just turned white. And when I adjust the size of my text box, the white part adjusts with the text box. I can drag it, move it, and that it moves right along with it. Okay, now the border. So right now the border is on transparent, but I want a border with some flair. So I'm going to make my border red, and I'm going to make my weight 4. So now it spices it up a little bit. But remember what I said, that if you wanted to, you can do some dots, some dashes, mix. Okay, a font. So the font is basically how your text looks. So remember, I was on a cat presentation. That was my text. If I highlight this, right now it's on Arial, but I can go ahead and choose Boogaloo, or maybe I'll choose Chelsea Market. If I need a bigger size, I can come here, click on that 14, and maybe I want it to be 30. Maybe I want it to be 60. Okay, that's a nice big old size. If I want to change the color of my font, I can come here to the text color, and maybe I want my font to be orange. Okay, not too shabby. Maybe I need my font to be bold, or I need it to be italicized, or maybe I need to be underlined. You can do all of that with your font. And then lastly, let's say I needed to highlight or make certain fonts stand out. I can click on this highlighter, and maybe I wanted to highlight in, let's go with yellow. That's a traditional color. And now I have cat presentation. Okay, but remember, this might look similar to the fill color, but remember when I made it white? So you can have a fill color and highlight the text, and it still looks, it does what you wanted to. So just be mindful about how you enter your text. Paragraph. Okay, so paragraph is just for formatting. Okay, so let's say I have this nice word style, and I'm going to make it size 30. Over here, you can choose how to align it. So right now it's left aligned. I can make it center. I can make it right, but I like it in the center. Now, also you can see it's at the top of the text box, but I can move it to the middle of the text box. I can move it to the bottom of the text box. You have some options of where that word appears. Okay, line spacing. So when you have multiple words, okay, you can adjust the spacing. Okay, so let's say I highlight these words together and I make it double spaced. So now these words are double spaced. Okay, but maybe I don't like the way this looks. So I'm going to remove my double space and put it back on single space. Now, another thing you can do is your numbered list. So, style, form, press enter. Now my 3 automatically comes up. Paragraph. And maybe you don't like the numbers, so you can click that and come over here and do bullets instead. And then the cool thing about the bullets is you can choose your bullet. Maybe I want a star, or maybe I want a checkbox. Okay? And then finally, you can just go ahead and clear formatting if you want. There's tons more formatting options, but these are some basics that will get you started. Now, let's talk about the image toolbar. So I've inserted an image, and you can notice crop came up. So crop just kind of allows you to take a certain portion of a picture. So if you double click on your image, you'll notice I have this gray border and the black with the corners. If you drag that, it'll take only the portion of the picture that I want. And when you press enter, now I only have the portion of the picture that I need. Okay, but maybe I don't like how I cropped it. So what I can do is I can reset that image. Okay, so I can reset that and I can resize it to how I had it. But maybe I don't like this image at all and I want to replace it. So if I click on replace image and I want to replace it from a picture that's you know, on my computer already, I can click that. I can find something on the web and replace it with. So let's replace it this time with a dog picture. Alrighty, so I'm going to select this picture and notice my picture is being replaced. Okay, now I'm going to double click on this because they've cropped it, and I can select the part of the picture that I actually want and hit enter, and now I have the dog. So the last thing I want to share with you about Google Slides basics is just how to animate things, right? And what I mean by animate is, what if I'm presenting and I want my text or I want my image to come in at a certain time. So let's say I have plans for future videos, right? And maybe you guys want to see a video about Google Docs. And maybe you want to see Google Calendar, okay? And maybe you want to see Google Drive. All right? So what you're going to do is you are going to go to the insert menu. See, insert. And under the insert menu, animation is kind of down there at the bottom. What's going to happen is a whole menu is going to pop up. So let's go do that now. I'm going to click insert and I'm going to animation. And sure enough, this menu popped up. So I'm going to select all three of those, right? And maybe I want it to fade in, maybe I want it to fly in, maybe I want it to zoom in, maybe I want it to spin in. But I think I'm going to go with the fade in. That's pretty traditional. And when I select by paragraph, that means that each of these are going to come in on its own. So now when I click play, and this is just to practice and see what it's going to look like. So when I click future videos, Google Docs, Google Calendar, Google Drive, it comes in one at a time. Okay? So that's all I have for you with Google Slides basics. There's a lot more to Google Slides, but you'll have to check out my Google Slides advanced video to see those tips and tricks. And if you liked this video and you want to see more from me about Google Slides, Google Docs, any type of tech tips and tutorials, then please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share it. Thanks.